Om Bhairava Namah. With that being said, I would like to make it abundantly clear that I am not at all associated with Rajarshi Nandy Ji or KBUF. With that being said, I consider this man to be my guru. Throughout our lives, we've often come across a lot of people who has added the information of very little substance or practical use to our lives, and we very effortlessly call them our teachers. And here is a man who has literally handheld us into the path, into our dharma, into our practices, and I can tell this that I have zero qualms in calling him my guru. I understand that he has a sense of reluctancy in that. To quote him, he himself has told, I would often, throughout the length of this video, often use this statement to quote him, to quote my guru, according to what he has told me. These three statements I might use. It is only because in my mind I've personally built a connection with Rajarshi Nandy Ji because I consider him to be my guru. With that being said, till date I've not even had a telephonic conversation with him. I am part of the bigger sadhana group, not the inner circle. I'm part of the bigger sadhana group, the bigger telegram group, and till date I've not even put a text message in that group, not even to thank him. Even in his birthdays I've not wished him. I've not even sent him a mail because I understand how busy he is, and I just don't want to add more fuel to the fire. And to quote him, coming back to where I had digressed, to quote him, you will only be able to reach at best right below the guru. You can only hope to reach that stage, not beyond that. So he might want to himself reach a certain stage before he starts giving out diksha to people. That could be the case. I'm just speculating here, nothing that he himself personally has told me. I'm just speculating here. That being said, what I again want to emphasize on is in the fact that I understand his reluctancy in being a guru, because I believe or I understand that after you have your Purnabhishek Diksha, you have the adhikara to give dikshas to people. I have written down certain things which I want to address in this video. I am sitting here right after I have done my sadhana, my Nitya, of course, Bhairav Baba. And this video is a result of a small inspiration that I've had, and I try to ignore it because there is something called adhikara when you are into the path and all. And again, I don't have any. This will all connect to the reason why I'm making this video. But okay, let's address that. That is one of the main points. So I've written few things that I would like to address, and that will be one of the things as well. Why am I making this video? The thing is, first of all, I made a video and the attire was different. I did not have the tripund. I was not wearing my mala. I usually don't wear my mala unless I have something that's very important that I'm going to do. Unless it's an important interview that I'm addressing or something that I'm going into for which I feel that I might need a certain level of protection, or for something that I feel that a bit of protection would help me go the extra mile. Those are the only cases where I wear my mala, and otherwise I usually keep it with the deity or in my puja room itself, because unless you reach a certain stage in sadhana and all, although I have been doing it for 1.5 years, it's nothing, but I would like to always keep it next to Baba only. So I try to ignore the inspiration that I've had, but again, see, I will make it very clear. I don't consider myself to be somebody who has reached or somebody who has understood this path or anything. Very honestly, let's not digress. The reason I'm making this video is because I come from a family, to give a small picture of what my family background is. I come from a family where my father, talking about my patrilineal side, my father has been in the armed forces. My grandfather was in the armed forces. My great-grandfather was a freedom fighter. My mother is a teacher, and the values that have been passed down has been values of morality, principle, doing the right things, helping the right people, helping people, being available for people, and having a sense of leadership while you're doing all these things. I have not been a part of a typical Hindu background wherein my grandmother has never passed me down lessons of the Gita. It was not until the first year of my college that I could at least even recite the first few verses, the few verses of Hanuman Chalisa. Imagine in the northern Hindu households and all, you will go and children will be reciting the Hanuman Chalisa right after they've crossed 5 years or something, right? But that has not been the case. Um, my house also does not see pujas that happen very often, because again we've always spiraled back to doing the right things in life, being available for people, helping people out. And these are the values that I've been and it has worked wonders for me. My father, I know him. My mother, I know him. They're all good people. So these things have worked for them, and that is the reason I also, to a larger degree, stuck to them. But later, certain things happened that my interest got diverted into this as well. So I'm making this video exactly for those people, because I believe only a person like me, who comes from my background, can help another person who comes from a similar background. And I'm sure that there are other people for whom there is not a person with whom you can clarify your doubts. You might have a billion doubts, but there is not one person to clarify these doubts with. You are born into a household where there is absolutely no puja happening. There is nobody who's naturally coming up to you and telling you, imparting lessons, spiritual lessons. So you start questioning your karma. There is no temple of Bhairava even surrounding you. So again, you start questioning your karma. You feel as if every single thing, your friend circle is such that most of them are either atheists, or they are believers, but they are not neck deep into the practice. Not to say that I am neck deep into the practice. So for these people, only a person like me might be able to, tell them that you are in the right way only. You are in the right path only. Because before I stepped into the whole thing, I mentioned that there were a few few incidents that happened prior to the whole thing that I got into the practice. I had a certain experience. I was preparing for the UPSC exams for the defense forces of the country. And once you clear the exams, there are interviews that happen, called the SSB interviews and all. So I was preparing for those things and all. And it is during that time that I had certain things happened where I could have absolutely no rational judgment or explanation of it. To this day, I've had, to quantify it, although one should not, I've had 3 experiences of Baba, but all of those 3 experiences I can rationally explain it to a person, and I can make sure that that person believes what I'm saying. I can mix that experience with a very high degree of luck, very high degree of serendipitous nature, and package that into a very rational delivery that another person will be able to accept. But the first experience that I could never explain it. There has been instances where after I had that experience, I've often tried to tell myself what this experience is about, and I've often told myself that Suraj, you are lying. My name is Suraj, by the way. Suraj, you are lying. But the experiences that I've had unfold in front of my eyes, and I know that no, these are not lies, that these things have actually happened. And to give more detailing, it happened not with Baba, it happened in fact with a very sattvic deity. It was an experience that was related to Hanumanji. I am, again, to speak about my tendencies and how the habits that I have and all, there is no way in the world I would expect Hanumanji of all places to come for my rescue, but at that day he did, in a method that I still to this day I don't know. It was more like a teaching that he had imparted into me, a teaching of yoga. And to this day I have not gone deep into it because I don't want to. I had post that experience gotten very attached to it. Post that I had an experience of another sattvic deity, but I could explain that to a great extent. But again, what I mean to say is that by saying all of these things, that I've had few experiences, and within my friend circle also I'm known to be that person. In outside my friend circle also I'm known to be that person whose values of character deeply surrounds values of pragmatism and rational behavior. because I've always wanted to become an officer in the Indian Armed Forces. So I believed that these things and empathy and human nature are, the positive, most constructive foundation of natural acting that a person can uphold and deliver. But then I had this experience that I could never, and then I try to a certain extent, I try to veer away from discussing. And I believe that putting emphasis on this one experience is very important, because I want you to understand that I've actually had an experience, and that experience is the reason why I believe that gotten a small I've gotten a very small experience of what people broadly classify as divinity. I will not get into the depths of this experience, because at that point in time my ego was also such that, it is important that you do not get attached to these experiences, because then the whole practice of sadhana becomes an act of somehow trying to tap into that experience, you somehow constantly. And I've noticed that, and I've very consciously veered away from, even sharing experiences, because these things that you do are all acts when you share experiences. Unless there is anything that is to be positively, spiritually gained out of it, there is absolutely no point in sharing these experiences, unless you are trying to prove a point, which is again inflating your ego, or you are trying to paint yourself in a picture of you are great, something you are going to be a saint or something. There is nothing that is going to come out of sharing these experiences. Me being a person who has come from such a household has been able to experience divinity for that microsecond. Again, I won't tell or try to convince a person that I've actually gotten an experience of divinity, because a person who wants to take it will take it, another person will not take it. That is it. So I had that experience, post which I had another experience which was also related to a very sattvic deity. But then, my following my tendencies and my general interest and ideas, and always had a leaning toward Shiva, um, and post few things which absolutely will not add any meat to the matter. I got into Bhairav Sadhana, and it is only Rajarshi Nandy Ji who got me into the practice. And again, I will only mention this once more. When I say that he got me into, when I say he told me, I am only telling that I've built a personal connection in my mind with Rajarshi Nandy Ji. It's only constructive, spiritually constructive, and I've not met this person ever, not even had a telephonic conversation. He does not even know of my existence. I'll tell you that much. I don't think there is any more clarity that I need to add into this. So that is the reason I am making this video. To people who belong to my category, who has no other person to ask, who has no person to ask for advice, who has no person. I've seen recently that a lot of people from KBUF have come to the forefront and explained and put light into their own practice, and how Rajarshi Nandy Ji have guided them and all. My karmas are probably not such that I won't have the good fortune of being a part of his inner circle, but that is okay. I understand that is okay, and I don't have that adamant behavior that I need to be handheld by Rajarshi Nandi Ji every other day, every single time I have to call this person, clear my doubts. A person who feels that all his doubts has to be cleared, then only he will get into the practice and all. No, you will never go through the practice entirely. I personally don't think so. Of course, there is a matter of adhikara. There is a topic of adhikara you can talk about these things, you can discuss these things and all. I understand all of that, Nandiji, if you are listening. I understand all of that, but I believe when it comes to people who belong to my category of people, and I've explained what my category of people is, a person who comes and tells you that I belong to you, you meaning the category of people that I am also from, you can still go through this path, and you can still just by listening to Rajarshi Nandi Ji and what he has, the practice that he has given all of you, you can have that experience with Baba, because I've had that experience with Baba. And again, I will not reiterate this again. I am one of the most pragmatic and rational person that I know of. The first thing that I try to do every single time, because I was an atheist, and it's only post that experience that I could, not just I could for the life of me not explain it, no matter what I did. That I had this shift, and then there was more reading, things like that, and that is how it changed. So even for people who belong to my category, you have absolutely no spiritual threats that it's attached to you, familial wise, karmic wise, nimittas, nothing is there. Still you will progress in the path. Just believe the process, just stick to it, and that is all. That is the reason. And I believe only a person who belongs to my category, who has been never handheld into the path other than by people like Rajarshi Nandy Ji, I believe only a person like me can give belief to a person who comes from my category. I think I've put very good, yeah, in fact, I've put a lot more emphasis than I maybe should have. I've not been able to very well articulate it either. I've repeated a lot of things again and again, but it is only to give you context as to why I'm doing this. I would also like to tell you that I don't consider myself to be some great saint. I really don't. I'm not Kalki Avatar. I am. I believe in my own practice that if every single Bhairav Sadhaks ever got to experience Baba, I'd be the last person. And that does not pull me down, or that does not stomp me down. That gives me the wantonness to invest myself more vigorously with a lot more fervor into the practice. And that is how you should constructively, uh, you know, lead yourself to think constantly. That is the behavior of a leader. Veera, right? The next thing that I would like to um, talk about is how to find a guru. Nandiji has told elaborately on this topic, spoken elaborately on this topic. You go out. You go out, you talk to people. That is the only way. See, it is not about finding a legit guru or a guru is not legitimate. It is not about that. Eventually, I will also get into the practice that I do on a daily basis so people understand that I'm not doing anything super special and all. Only what Nandiji has told me. Right. So don't expect that somebody or something. Most people are only reacting to their karmas. That is one truth. To quote my guru, most people. There is everyone has a feeling that you are special, you are this, you are that, and all. Most people are just reacting to their karmas. Having a purpose is something that's very great. It's something that's not normal. So please don't live in that false mirage that a guru like Mahavatar Babaji will come and lead you and into the path of Kriya Yoga or whatever it